Ripples at Work is an online project that is about to start trialing a new educational model. I see the trials leading to an online tournament where groups of people, who could be families or teams of students representing schools from different countries, compete with each other in acquiring knowledge to address some pressing problems of modern society. I'm Dr. Lena Redman, Russian-born Australian independent educational researcher, and I invite you to this exploratory and, as you will see, groundbreaking project. In this video, I will outline the force that activates and sustains the rippling movement within the Ripples at Work educational model. I am bold enough to promote the Ripples at Work as groundbreaking, and no doubt I will be challenged on such daring. If your critique has already started building up at this point, I would ask you not to rush to a conclusion, but watch all the videos in the series first. To demonstrate the validity of my innovation, I believe I have to avoid a 1-minute elevator pitch or even 3-minute thesis presentation, but explain it to you in detail. And that is the reason for the series of videos. The theory of cognitive adaptation was developed by Swiss psychologist Jean Piaget, and this theory is the grounding element of the Ripples at Work conception of learning. There will be further videos addressing how Piaget's concept is integrated into the Ripples at Work knowledge construction. But for now, I want to quickly sketch out its general notion. Cognitive adaptation, according to Piaget, is an equilibrium found by an individual in response to the pressure of surrounding circumstances. Let's say that the pressure of circumstances requires a student to get to the other side of a street that was flooded by heavy rain last night. Whatever the student chooses to do in these circumstances will constitute his or her learned experience towards their gradual cognitive adaptation to life. If I had faced these circumstances on my way to school back in the glorious Soviet 60s, I would undoubtedly have been very lucky to find all sorts of stuff scattered around. Loose stones, bricks, and even wooden planks would have been at my disposal to stimulate the resourcefulness of a young mind, and I would have been on the other side of the street in no time. Thinking about it, I could probably have created a whole found material artistic bridge if I had wanted to. The Western student of the 2020s is not so lucky, but he or she has instead is a magic device, a mobile phone, to call their mom or dad for help. From the moment the call is made, the learning from life appears to be condensed to a single point. Parents take care of any difficulties in a child's life. So here we have two variables, two specific mental schemata, as Piaget would say. Two different students in different historical times and in different societies develop mental schemata in accordance with the cultural norms and habits of the society they are exposed to, as well as their individual tendencies. In other words, how this new situation will be tackled by a student depends on variables that include the age of the student, his or her upbringing, culture, a specific context, and unique individual predispositions. Piaget refers to the incorporation of given difficulties into the patterns of understanding and behavior as mental assimilation, As individuals start assimilating the difficulties they face, they also begin to modify the patterns of their behavior and therefore, and in their own individual ways, expand and modify their mental schemata. It is as if a new niche is being created in the structures of the mind to feed the new information in. This is the process of accommodation, as Piaget termed it. Accommodation happens when an individual begins to explore an initial solution to see whether or how it works. This process is not linear. There is not a step towards assimilation and then another step towards accommodation, but a continuous looping between the two. This includes such mental processes as grasping a problem, evaluating it, coming upon with an initial solution, acting on it, adjusting it, and doing it again and again until the path to the other side of the street is constructed or the phone call to the parents is made, and thus an equilibrium is achieved between the student and the pressure of the surrounding circumstances. This is, in a nutshell, what Piaget called cognitive adaptation. Piaget's formula is a linchpin that activates the dynamics of the ripples in the ripples at work system of learning. The looping between assimilation and accommodation leads to a cognitive adaptation of the material the student has been assigned to learn. We will talk about this process many more times. For now, let us just hold on to this concept by imagining it as mental looping between grasping an idea, acting on it, evaluating it, adjusting it, and doing it again and again until the new material is assimilated and accommodated and a new patterns of behavior is developed. This process leads to a gradual expansion of an individual's mental schemata and incremental cognitive adaptation. It would seem that building a pathway across the flooded street is a more engaging and perhaps more effective learning exercise than just making a call to the parents and letting them deal with the situation. But think about that child in the 60s, wherever she was living, in the former Soviet Union or in the West. What if, instead of having a welter of useful materials on the street, she was given a mobile phone? What would she do with all her ingenuity if she could use the mobile phone as a brick to step on for crossing the water? Her assimilation and accommodation of the device would take a much longer period of time than quickly building a pathway. The child of our 2020s, on the other hand, has a much more advanced understanding of the use of technology. But his or her behavior, in what seems to be a common response to the given situation, demonstrates a lack of individual agency in dealing with difficulties. My point is that by empowering our children with miracle digital tools, we are also gradually disempowering them by depriving them of the ability to use this amazing technology to act on their knowledge in an independent way. What would be the appropriate decision for the student to make while using his/her initiative? Maybe he or she could call the school, explain that their arrival will be delayed because of what happened, and then use the mobile phone to explore an alternative route to school. There could be many other and much more effective solutions to this problem, and some could be very creative depending on the individual tendencies of the learner. If only these tendencies were given the chance to be exercised and expressed over years of schooling. So the Ripples at Work model is about the interactions between an individual and the surrounding world. And it is about allowing these interactions to develop an individual agency of the learner. The surrounding world, or surroundings in the Ripples at Work context, comprises three aspects of the world in which a person lives. They are, as we frame them in the Ripples at Work model, the natural environment, the man-organized domain, and the man-made domain. Let me explain those terms. The natural environment is taken very seriously in the Ripples at Work model of learning. Man's biological origins and evolutionary inseparability from nature underlie every task in every domain of knowledge. The internet and virtual reality are important aspects of modern world, but nature is what gives us life. The biofabric woven of a myriad living threads, where we are just one of them, is our home. Breathing in its essence, touching its textures, experiencing its physicality, knowing about its pain as much as knowing the pain in our own bodies, and learning to be its faithful stewards are essential components of Ripples at Work learning. The man-organized domain is a society where a large community of people live according to accepted norms and a common social order. In the context of Ripples at Work, the man-organized domain is the interactions among the people involved in the project. They include the learning group, the family, the social local community, social network members, and friends. It is time for us, humans, to learn how we can help each other to survive and enjoy living on the planet we all call home. It is time for us to create a system of education that will be oriented to the exploration of a social order that can be summarized by the statement, "I really do care." The man-made domain of our surroundings is what people design, build, or produce. That is everything that has been made by humans to improve their lives and control the natural world to serve human purposes. Our houses, cars, household objects, machinery, medicine, these are the aspects of the man-made domain. We will refer to them as technology. For example, language was constructed for the purpose of exchanging meaning between people in a society. Therefore, it is a technology for communication, and, by analogy, it can be seen as an extension of the mind. Clothing was invented by man for protection from unpleasant weather. Therefore, it is a technology to make the body feel comfortable. And again, by analogy, it can be seen as an extension of the skin. In the same way, digital technology can be seen as an extension of the environment. It is a new cloud reality that we can access through our digital tools, where screens are the portals. The task of new system of education, therefore, is not to make the student choose one aspect of the world or another while learning, but to equip them for living in the natural, social, and technological ripple work. The student needs to learn their individual power to withstand the changeability, complexity, an intense competition of the contemporary ripple work, which has been dramatically intensified by modern technology. So, if you are a parent, a teacher, an educational researcher, or a student who agrees that for our children to be prepared for a successful life in a new world, they have to be equipped with the skills to use their individual tendencies, which will give them a better chance not only of surviving but of realizing themselves. Join us in our Facebook Ripples at Work trials. Visit the Ripples at Work Facebook page, where you can find printable pages to accompany each video. Fill in the form to register yourself as a participant, and I'll see you soon in our exciting and very important project, developing individual agency to withstand the changeability, complexity, and intense competition of modern surroundings.